Great. Hello and welcome, Piyush.
Thank you.
So today, this session is billed as the international perspective, and we're going to talk a lot about conversational commerce and a lot about AI. Some of the themes that keep coming up, I was telling Piyush, is sort of around Amazon and Alexa, and to sort of help set the stage for those who are not perhaps overly familiar with what's happening in the India online retail market. A quick summary of Flipkart. This company was founded in 2007, so the first major online retailer. Quickly established dominance, and with just some numbers, they've got 40 million products, 90,000 sellers, 17 warehouses. Amazon came, and there's another company called Snapdeal, who's sort of more of a third-tier company, probably. And Amazon launched in 2013 in India, and has grown very, very fast. They now have 55 million products and fewer sellers, 85,000 sellers, and 21 warehouses versus 17. And of interest, in some ways, from the media perspective, was that in July 2014, Flipkart said, we're going to invest $1 billion in our operations, and Amazon, or Jeff Bezos said, oh yeah, well, we'll invest $2 billion. And that just shows what's at stake. And what's at stake is in 2015, it was a $16 billion market. And according to Morgan Stanley, they had originally forecast, I think it was about 115 billion for 2020 or 120, and they now just raised it to $140 billion market. So there's a lot at stake here. It's a very big marketplace, however. And I guess to top it off this summer, Bezos announced another $3 billion investment. So they're coming fast and furious at this gentleman here at Flipkart. And so as we started talking a little bit about this conference and bots and AI and conversational commerce, Piyush had some ideas, sort of just remarking about what is conversational commerce. And part of what we're going to try to do is drill down on some specific examples that are perhaps unique to India, but are relevant to this audience. So tell me about your thoughts on commerce to begin.
Oh, of course. So one thing which I'll probably say is the problems which we see over here, whether in conversational commerce or commerce in general, is not the same set we always see in India, apart from the fact that you need a lot of money, and then you can keep throwing money at the problem and build yourself out. But generally, the problems are very different. So even in conversational commerce, if we look at that, as a matter of fact, Flipkart has that going on, and I can talk to you about exactly how we think about it, is very different from the way we have approached it over here. I mean, just yesterday I bought something as part of Amazon Prime Day on Amazon Alexa by talking to it, and it actually shipped it to me, which is amazing, right? That's fantastic. So to start from the basic premise, if we think of commerce and we think of India, there's a fundamental belief in Flipkart, and I'm sure you guys will agree, that the way natural commerce happens is how e-commerce will eventually go. Like human beings started commerce way before we had cell phones, right? And the way we did that actually was through conversation. So we are kind of trained, that is what is very natural to us, and the question is, how does technology take us there? Now, that is the path Flipkart is taking. But when you look at how technology gets there, there are many different layers of capabilities we need to build. This is the unique challenge set which India presents. Like, if you are building an e-commerce company in US versus India, the main difference you end up seeing is well, imagine there's no FedEx, imagine there's no UPS, no credit cards, anything like that, and now you want to do e-commerce. Imagine a bunch of people don't even have cell phones, right? Now you want to do e-commerce, they don't have laptops. That is the world in which you operate. So when you think of conversational commerce, the same set of problems happen. Before we go to AI, and I can talk about how we are using it.
Yeah, I want to slow down on the idea of conversation.
Okay.
And I think it obviously spot on correct that people want to have a conversation often. Yes, there's some transactional click and buy, but And the higher the value of the product, and certain products, there's more conversation required, and that's not unique to India culture.
Yeah.
So can we slow down and just tell me a little bit more about
absolutely.
how you do that?
I can actually share some information on how we have seen it. So Flipkart within its application has a conversational platform. It's
Ping.
It's called Ping. Like you can go in there and you can drag and drop a product, or you can talk to your friends through populated through your address book. There's a whole set of reasons why we build it inside our application rather than using something from outside. But within that, one of the biggest sales which we did last year, what we found was just before that we had launched Ping. And what we found was 15% of the products when people talk to each other resulted in an addition into the cart. So when people talk to each other, 15% of the time
is
they
that
add to
buyers
cart.
and sellers, or
No, this was
showing, hey, do you think this?
Yeah, this was
sure will look good on me.
That's exactly the kind of like, hey, will this look good on me? Or like in my case, asking my wife, can we buy this television? Stuff like that.
Did she say yes?
Yes, she did. Okay. So the thing is, those are the kind of things where basically 15% was multiples of what normal addition to cart on a search we see. And this was very useful. But what is even more interesting, majority of those were very high ASP products, right? These are the considered purchases. Now you think of what happens. This is the gravitation towards natural commerce. If you are going to buy air conditioner or a refrigerator, which in India people buy on their cell phones, by the way, because they don't have always a laptop or a desktop to go to. When they're gonna buy it, it is a considered purchase. Normally here we would research bunch, talk to our family members, whoever else is a decision maker, and kind of go and make that purchase. But there, that is exactly what is going on within the conversation. So it is, even before AI, there's enough value which is being delivered right in conversation.
And cars too.
Exactly, and cars too. Like people are buying cars, which is like, which is when you think about it, this is what I'm saying. Like India is a whole another world. The smartest device you have in your household is the phone in your pocket, but you need to buy a car. What do? You pull it out, and then you can go to Flipkart, and you can look at cars, and you can buy them. Right. It sounds very surreal, but that's what really is going on. One other thing which we have noticed is when you go and talk about a product with people in conversation, and it's a high ASP product, you are 5 to 6 times more likely to go buy it.
And when you say you talk to them, how is it? Is it texting? Is it
almost
audio?
always it is a one-on-one conversation with somebody else in a decision-making process. It might be about price, it might be about specs, but overall theme is it's a one-on-one conversation. It's not like, hey, we are buying a bunch of gifts for somebody's birthday party or something like that. It's very one-on-one, and it is about the product in the decision-making path. Like, how there is like a consideration, discovery, and all that. So this is decision-making, like before transaction, does it look like we should go about? So that is one of the things which we have discovered. Conversation fits right into the workflow of commerce in India.
And one of the challenges we were talking earlier also is that India has 33 languages. And so when you start talking about an Alexa-like interface or voice-activated purchases and whatnot, certainly there's 100 million people who speak English in India, but there's more than 1 billion who do not. Absolutely. And so how do you...
So the way we are looking at that problem also, and that is where AI actually will play a very big role, which is, if you think of English has been the language of internet, and then the approach so far, like before deep learning and all that came about, was we're going to take whatever we have built in English and we're going to translate it into 40 different languages around the world, right? And very valid approach. But what really we are trying to do is figure out, can we do something better? Can we go and say, sure, English is a language of conversation for a set of people, but what about other people? Can we use the fact that most of the commerce they conduct is conversational, it's speech-driven or visual, like sometimes they see ads. So can we take speech, can we take visual, and we can combine those things to build a better application? Like, should it be that, like here is an example, and we haven't done it, so we are still in the phase of definition, but should be like, hey, I take my phone and instead of typing into it, I speak to it, but I speak in a regional language. The minute you do that, the whole localization problem goes away. right? And that becomes very natural. If you go to a tier 3 town and go to middle class household over there, that person might be able to read English, might be able to write English, but is not comfortable in English, right? And
so I'm sorry, I didn't quite want to say. So the phone, I know this is a hypothetical or perhaps in development. It will recognize my regional dialect and then change the screen, or does the screen fades away? Are you saying the interface fades away then?
So, the question is like, so if you think of like, we are starting from first principles of what natural behavior is like. So you talk, speech recognition right away. We try to understand what you're saying, right? Hey, I want a red pair of shirts, a red pair of shorts, right? Now, it's a very, there is a very interesting video which is out there of a kid teaching his dad how to do online shopping. The first thing he says is like, hey, do you have red pair of shorts? And then he says, in cotton, like a little bit later, like as if he has walked into a store. And majority of the stores in India are not like self-shopping kind of malls here. You walk into a store, you're talking to the shopkeeper, and that's what the conversation is. That's step one. Then think about what will the shopkeeper do. We'll show you a series of products, right? Like an array of products. Here's what it is. Now so it's a talk and touch interface which we are thinking of. So. But if you think fundamentally the problem we are trying to solve is you don't have to be comfortable in English to be able to shop online. That is actually the challenge today. I mean, even if you look at like any e-commerce company in India, they're all limited by people who can.
And so how does AI, how are you using artificial intelligence to address some of these challenges?
So in this case, speech recognition, natural language processing, applying that to the catalog is the primary way to do it. The series of challenges right after that is majority of the time the AI models are ones which you design and you run them on the server. The way you will do it in the phone, this is a very big problem in India, is like your phone cannot always talk to the internet. Battery consumption goes through the roof because your phone is always looking for network. So we have to solve all of these problems.
And a lot of our conversation so far has been sort of around the consumer, but what about for sellers? Are there things that AI or bots can do to help the sellers?
They can. We have also done conversation for sellers. It's a marketplace, and we started by allowing customers to talk to sellers. And we are already starting to see that when customers talk to sellers, the conversion goes up. But we haven't yet put AI in there. The kind of AI pieces which we have are things like sentiment analysis and all that, which we can apply right there, saying, okay, is this person talking to you? Like we really want to do is bring all the human emotion part also within to that, because conversation is not just text, right? So we want to be able to say, this person talking to you actually needs a little bit TLC.
So how are you doing that? I mean, are you
so sentiment analysis
analysis?
Yeah, but I will tell you that the needs right now, the way we see them, are way more fundamental than that advanced level, because when people ask, many times they want to know, hey, this stuff I'm buying, is it exactly what you have advertised? Right? Even that level of sense of security doesn't exist at times on online transaction. People don't have the confidence. They want to ask the seller that, is it okay? Because I don't want to return it. And seller also does not want it returned because otherwise it costs them. So they're more than happy to convince you this is what you should buy. And that is user-seller chat really works very well over there. We are there also. I mean, it's currently in a pilot, so we haven't really rolled it out completely, but we are seeing multiples increase in conversions when people are doing it that way. Like, the things which are sometimes shown out of stock, but seller has 10,000 things they sell, they forgot to update that one thing. And the guy who's interested is like, is this really out of stock? When will it come in stock? And now that is an indication to the seller that they should do something about it. So we are fitting into the workflow at the very basic level, but AI-wise, we have gone to like sentiment analysis and those kind of things, and we are going to like expression analysis. That has a little bit of a concern that how will we make that happen, but when you walk into a real store, the conversation is not just the words coming out of your mouth, right? It's the expression on your face, the tone of your voice. We want to be able to understand all that and be able to present where it is meaningful into the conversation. So we're working on those kind of things.
And just, are you? I have to ask this question because we're almost out of time, and you know it's coming. So are you building an Alexa-like device? I mean, is that something that's under development at Flipkart?
I don't think Alexa, as it is, will work in India for the reasons like network connectivity is not there, so you cannot get the sub-second response back. You don't have 24-hour power over there, right? Like power outage is very common. You cannot upgrade your firmware in India because there's no power.
So it's not exciting enough. It doesn't
Well,
solve. It's exciting, though.
It's exciting. I bought something yesterday on it, but it's exciting when fundamental problems are solved.
Right.
So we need to solve the fundamental problems first.
Or even set for a higher ambition.
Yes, the regional language is a very good example. I mean, what I'll say is conversation in India is the point and click or the point and touch of e-commerce here, right? That's how conversation happens that's how commerce happens in India. We have to make sure that it's part of our product.
Right. Great. All right, well, we're out of time. This has been fantastic. Thank you very much, Piyush. Thank you.